Hello, and welcome back to Hearts of Iron 4, Equestria War, the Kingdom Wingbardy, and Garibald. And today's episode, well, it's time for the correct options. The mail offices. Ah, your father, the Duke Giovanni trailed off, eyebrows furrowed in deep thought. I do believe I remember him leaving the party with some griff arguing about something. I was not able to see who the griffin was, unfortunately. What I do know is that the time between him leaving the hall and hearing your call for help was so short it could not have been anyone else. He must have left with his murderer. Garibald nodded, processing this new information. And you are sure that you cannot remember anything else, any detail about the griffin? The Duke shook his head sadly. I'm so sorry, my king. Perhaps years ago I could have told you more, when I was still young and my eyes still sharp, but now he gestured to his graying feathers. I'm not the griffin I used to be. It is all right. You've told as much as you could. Thank you for the information, Duke Giovanni. The noble bowed before making his way back into the thick grand hall. Garibald stood there for a few moments, mulling over the revelation that had been given to him. But it was not the best evidence or the most conclusive, but it was a step in the right direction, nonetheless. We'll make sure to add this to the files. King Garibald left the party with his murderer. Alright. That's our first step of evidence. Now we actually need to wait for political power this time instead of just having it, because I'm not going to cheat to get it in a time where I'm where it's actually an actual campaign and not an alternate timeline shenanigan thing. And we're going to do an intervention in Saudi Arabia this time. And actually look at my son's things. We're definitely not supporting the League of Four Emirs. That's just dumb. But we can support the National Arabian Salvation Movement. We'll unlock decisions to support them. I mean, I still don't love it. They're not my first choice, but I'll take them. Going cold turkey. More than 2 weeks had gone by since the king had confiscated all addicted substances from his son and told the royal guard to keep a close eye on him in case he had his secret stash somewhere. At first, Gumberto was outraged, throwing a fit and cursing his father in colorful ways. On the following day, his anger was gone as the withdrawal symptoms began to set in. He was feeling nauseous, complaining from the headaches. The next 2 days, he spent almost entirely in bed, occasionally vomiting and shaking. On the 5th day, his condition slowly began to improve, and he even went on a short walk outdoors. However, on the 6th day, things worsened again, as he had a high fever and was given enough medication to ease his suffering. The next week went without incidents, as he slowly recovered and returned to normal. The guards, who were watching him, did say that Gumberto tried to bribe them in return for alcohol. Nevertheless, his craving for drink weakened as time went on, though he still held a grudge against his father for making him go through such an atrocious experience. The first steps are always the most difficult to take. Yes, and I'm glad he's taken them. Alright, let's search the mail records. And we will begin preparing, yeah. The dinner. Where is he? King Garibald Talonuel muttered to himself as he sat at the dining table at his royal estate. He had invited many nobles from all across the Wingbardy for a great state dinner, not only to catch up with some old friends, but also to teach his son about such events and how to act in them. Unfortunately, that was looking less and less likely to happen, as he was already half an hour late. The prince's seat at the table was noticeably empty, even as the meal was in full swing. As if on cue, the doors opened and Gumberto walked in. Sorry I'm late, father, he said breezily. Friends made me stay later than I thought. All the nobles present stared at him. My apologies, Garibald said finally, but I will need to speak... My apologies, Garibald said finally, but I will need to speak with my son for a moment. He got out of his chair and made his way out of the dining room, practically pulling his son along the way. Have you any idea how late you are? The king asked furiously after they had gotten out of earshot. Punctuality is everything, Gumberto. You cannot simply lay off a state dinner until later. Gumberto shrugged. I didn't even want to be here anyway. If being late is so bad, why don't you just let me leave already? Garibald was just about to rebuff him when he stopped for a moment. Was this really worth the effort? Letting him leave would certainly ease his strain for the dinner, even if his son wouldn't learn anything from it. No, you will stay and have dinner and learn how to attend these events. It is important that you do. Search the mail records. Every single letter that has been sent through Griffinheim has to go through the Imperial Mail Service and has a copy of anything made for storage should the need arise for evidence given. Now that we have these copies from back during the time of Gumberto's murder, we can search through any kind of suspicious messages that may give us clues. Yes, that makes sense. Let's do so. And we're also working on developing Pergia. To say Pergia is not the most developed part of our nation would be an understatement. The infrastructure on the island is outdated, and some of the major roads are dangerous even for military trucks. If Pergia is to reach her full potential, an ambitious development package must be initiated. Agreed. Let's do so. Strawberry Duchy declared war on Griffinheim, this time canonically declaring war on them. These guys are fighting. Oh, but we have the Rufus Capitalist in charge. We're doing their oil republic. I haven't seen you take power. This is the same description. Oh, the issue of friends. First, let's see. I would like to finish up those first. The issue of friends. Standing on the balcony of the royal palace, King Garibald Talonuel watched as Prince Gumberto got out of the car that had pulled up in the front plaza, laughing at something another griffin had said. The king scowled when he saw what the griffins were wearing, prominent Blackwing uniforms proudly adorned with various symbols of Michelini's fading ideology. I mean, how? They shouldn't exist. These must be like the last people left of their ideology. I'm joking. Gumberto waved goodbye to them as the car drove off the estate, seeming to be in good mood. King Garibald made his way back into the palace, taking a route to make sure he intercepted his son before he made it to his room. The prince's high spirits faded immediately when Garibald blocked his way. "What is it now, father?" he asked with an exasperated tone. The king chose to get straight to the point. "The griffins you chose to fraternize with are a negative influence on you, son. They are nothing but trouble, and I do not want you associated with them any longer." "First you hound me for my parties, and now this?" Prince Gumberto looked his father straight in the eyes, unflinching. "They are my friends, father. Those griffins understand me better than you ever have, and they know." "They know nothing," Garibald interrupted. "They will never understand this responsibility and duties of a true king, and neither will you if you continue falling under their influence." His son shook his head, continuing his look of defiance. "I am my own griffin, father. I get to choose who are my friends, and I choose them. I am not under their influence. I refuse to be under yours." The prince spoke with a strong, clear, and most importantly, authoritative voice, making clear his opinion on this. Neither griffin backed down, neither side flinching. They both stood eye to eye, staring each other down, showing no weakness. After a full minute in the hall, King Garbert spoke. "You will find new friends, and that is final." Hochland declared war on the United Dragonlands. Interesting. We've got Hochland going off. And we just wait one more day, and that's at its max. But we can now do stuff for the next year, which means we can go and start these day of. Good. That is what I want to see. Now, I do want to just get a couple towed artilleries going, just in case. No, we are doing really good at building everywhere in our nation. The letter. Sir, we found something. Gavino Garetano made his way over to the desk, looking over the letter strewn across it. The griffin who had spoken was young, most likely one of the newest members of the SIM. Look at this. Gavino was handed a single piece of letter, a note claw written in confusing Herzlandish. Well, what does it say? He asked. There's a lot in it. Apparently, whoever wrote it just got a large sum of money from a location outside the empire, and they are ordering the receiver of this letter to assassinate King Gumberto. So they weren't working alone. The agent nodded. Not only that, but look at the corner here. Gavino squinted, focusing at where the other griffin was pointing his claw. It's the Imperial seal. Whoever got this letter must have really strong connections with the Empire. So the Imperials are behind it once again. Gavino gained a single nod of approval. Excellent work, Agent. I'll make sure to send this information to the king himself immediately. We should have known the Imperials were behind this. The murderer has very strong Imperial ties. The replacements. Prince Gumberto walked out of the building somewhere on the coast of Carthan, where the king was waiting for him. So, he inquired, waiting for the response. He huffed. It was terrible, Father. We had nothing in common, and I can already tell those harness don't like me. This was just a waste of time. You have nothing in common because you are still acting like your old friends. It is you who needs to change, my son, not them. And what if I can't, Father? The prince's voice started rising in anger. I am me, and that is going to change. New friends aren't going to do anything. He stormed past Garibald, getting into the car, and slammed the door behind him. The king took a deep breath before following his son. This was necessary for the kingdom and for Gumberto. It may take time and more force, but eventually his new compatriots would help him become a better prince and a better griffin. Hopefully he will come around someday. I mean, we need to get away from those fascists. Like, I specifically stopped them on that march, and it went very well, but we can't let, like, their influence creep into the monarchy. Not when they're pretty much gone completely from the nation. Now isn't the time to just let them come back for nothing, no reason. That would just be bad. Like, purely just bad. Like, no, don't do that. And now let's get the wine. Alright, we should just directly send some people there. Let's send some volunteers. I mean, I don't like you, but I like you more than the alternative. Plus, let's get them loyal. Oh, I don't need 3. And plus, we can train up some men. Actually, yeah, we should send, we should be sending knights instead. They're more skilled. They'll do more work for them. We'll start by sending advisors to the National Arabian Salvation Movement. Wingbardy and advisors. There you go. There's some support. the sample of Vivonian wine. The sample is ready. Fresh Vinovian wine had been imported straight from Aquilia, and both bottle and glass it was now arranged in front of the king, Garibald III, within his dining room. Carefully, he uncorked the bottle and slowly poured himself a glass of the wine. This was if he had gotten the correct wine, he could get one step closer to finally avenging his father, but if he was wrong, well, best not to dwell on that now. The king took a sniff of the alcohol before having a small sip from the glass. It was an excellent wine, just as many had told him it would be. If the Aquilians knew how to do one thing, it was making wine, and as he mentally matched the wine he was having to the one he smelled back then, the memory came flooding back once more. He could see his father's body again, and smell the very wine that he was holding in the towns right now. And if Gumberto had not had any wine, that must have meant that his murderer is dead. Garibald put down his glass and grabbed the bottle once more. It would not solve the case on its own, but this revelation brought him one step closer to his goal. Finally, a breakthrough. And yeah. Now, I think the other option that you could get the other thing can also really help. Because, yeah, you can kind of... Yeah. Okay. We're coming. Just give us some time. We're almost there. We're gonna help you win this thing, hopefully. And then hopefully you'll be indebted to us. Colonial troops. It is expensive and unpopular to send soldiers overseas, away from their families and homes. With the colonial control established, it would be best to let part of the overseas garrison be made up of native felines instead. With the promise of good pay and social status, it should be possible to find enough cats to reduce the burden of our griffin soldiers. That would be nice. Okay, there's where my troops appeared at. Now, if I could just help them with, like, a nice, like, little push over here, that would be awesome. Like, things aren't going that great for them, but if we can, like, squish in all of this, it will be going amazingly for them. So let's see if we can do that for them. Or at least squish this tank. Darn it. Stop. Okay, well that's a start right there. Like, that's already a nice start to this. Can I get some help pushing, maybe? No? Because you don't have really supplies over here. Here's some weapons, though. Hopefully that can help. Because I would love to send some troops over to actually do some surrounds. But there's not... Okay, now that you got a troop there, I can come over and help with some stuff over here. No. I want you there. There. Relapse in judgment. For a while, it seemed like Gumberto was overcoming his addiction to wine and other substances, but early today, Gumberto's housemaid discovered him passed out in his room, surrounded by empty bottles of wine, burnt-out cigars. He was immediately taken to the hospital, and the king arrived as soon as he heard what had happened. It seemed Gumberto was going through a relapse, unable to hold back his cravings. Garibald was deeply disappointed, but knew that getting angry at his son would resolve nothing. While Gumberto recovered, the king thought about what to do instead. He felt like he had been too strict before, and that this had caused Gumberto's addiction to resurface. Perhaps allowing him to indulge in alcohol and narcotics every now and then would help him keep things under control. On the other claw, it would put his paw down and send him to receive more effective treatment that would prevent another relapse. Gumberto would like the first option more, but it could just result in his addiction never truly being resolved. Send him to therapy. Whoop. War ending somewhere. The county of Piedmont offers to buy Grand Feather Mines. Representatives of the Plumides government has approached us on behalf of Francis Metterwing, inquiring us if he'd be willing to consider the sale of Golden Feathers mines, which are located in the Netherlands. Wingbardy prospects had bought these lands around 60 years ago and found huge veins of valuable ores, which were then excavated by our national mining companies. Now it seems the county of Piedmont, so our ally, wishes to own the mines themselves, so their produce and profits don't go directly to us. Of course, in return, they're offering a fair sum of idols. There are 3 different possible responses for us to consider. Either we simply accept the deal and allow the strategically important mines to come under Plumides' ownership, or we can try to haggle for better prices, as surely the mines are more important for us than they think. However, this could end up with the Plumides giving up on the deal entirely, which may be a good or bad thing for us. Last, we can simply refuse the offer outright, though this would damage our friendly relationship somewhat. This is out of the question. Wingbardy haggles for the price. Let's sign the deal. Yeah, let's just sign the deal. That sounds fine by me. And we get payment for Golden Feather Mines. In accordance with the agreement struck up with County of Plumont, we are receiving compensation equal to the value of the mine's yearly output. Yeah, that's fine by me. The accusation. The time has come to make an accusation. Everything we have done until this point, every action we took from the fateful night in 972, has led to this moment. Here is where we can finally bring feast to Gumberto's name. Let our king Garibald take his revenge upon whoever robbed him of his father, and Wingbardy of its king, and close this case for good. The SIM are on the standby already, with all their evidence ready to be presented in court and get a conviction. The 4 subjects, as known by many involved in the case already, are Archon Eros, Marie Discreet, Mergy Redclaw, and Artrix Ebonwing. The king is sure that one of these 4 griffins committed the deed, but we must be careful. Choosing the wrong griffin or failing to get a conviction through a lack of evidence could at best make us look like fools and shut the case down, and at worst harm our relationships and standing on the international stage. We have but one shot at this, so let's not waste it. With that being said, who could choose to accuse in the trial of the king? Well, I know who it is, but I'm kind of curious what happens if you get it wrong. But I also don't want to, I'm in the middle of I'm just going to get it right. Eric Ebonwing and the blasted imperialists. The results. That will be enough. The Griffin, as an official judge, of Wingbardy looked down upon the prosecution, glasses tilted downward at the end of his beak. You have brought forward multiple pieces of evidence that you say point towards the defendant, Field Marshal Eric Ebenwing, and wish for them to be brought back to face the King's judgment. Understand the importance of the situation to all of Wingbardy, but as official judge, I must put my duty over personal opinions. Justice must be given to all Griffiths, no matter what. However, everything you presented points to conclusivity to Ebenwing's murder of King Gilberto. Therefore, I find the absent defendant guilty of all charges leveled against him, and authorized retrieval of him by the SIM for the king to decide punishment. The bang of the gavel echoed throughout the courtroom, and with it a feeling of immense success and relief, finally, after so long, discovering who was behind all this. It is time to bring this griffin to justice. Finding Ebenwing. 4 griffins stood outside a simple home somewhere in Griffiths, armed with pistols and ready to break in. 2 were waiting at opposite windows, and the other 2 were at the front door waiting for the signal. And that exact 4:15 that afternoon, all of them broke their way into the new home of former Marshal Eric Ebenwing, catching him by surprise as he was reading in a chair. At first he attempted to resist, to reach for his officer's revolver on the desk and close by, but his age had caught up with him, and eventually he was subdued and then knocked out. After being tied up, the group of griffins carried him out of the house and to the nearest port, where a single Wingbardian ship was waiting to pick them up. Another successful operation by Gavino Gerdinto and the SIM. No griff can hide forever from their crimes. Crime and punishment. Eric Ebenwing, you have been found guilty of murdering King Gilberto I of Wingbardy, plunging all of Griffonia into chaos. Your act has caused the deaths of thousands upon thousands of griffins. What have you to say for yourself? The court ring was packed with griffins from all over. Wingbardy there to see all over Wingbardy, there to see the griffin behind it all. Many had booed and jeered at him when he had first been dragged to his seat, only barely kept in line by the guards present and the judge calling for order. The former field marshal refused to meet any griffin in the eyes, especially King Garibald, who was staring emotionally at him from above in his seat. Very well, then. I defer your sentence to the sovereign Wingbardy, King Garibald Talonuel III. All eyes were on the king as he rose from his seat, keeping his own pair of eyes trained on the murder of his father. For your crimes against the king of Wingbardy, the murder of its king, and my father, I hereby sentence you to life imprisonment, is what I will send you to. As I'm unsure. I feel like there might be information we need from you. I'm not sure if we can get any. I don't actually know that part. But I would like to be able to at least see if there's information we can take from you. Ah, there we go. Now that we've took that port, I can move out because I don't really care about. Oh, darn it. Really? Really? You guys are idiots. You guys are idiots. You guys are idiots. You guys are idiots. You guys left that spot open instead of blocking it, allowing my troop to get surrounded for no reason. I hate you. You know what? No. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and end this episode. I'm gonna load that save. We're gonna not have that happen stupidly. And we're there. Okay, so we're gonna continue forward and see what happens as we continue on in the next episode. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell button. And as always, peace.